Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? The best way to learn the game of chess is by studying the importance of individual moves and not just about openings and gambits, which is what this video is all about. The power of bishop e2 in every opening to win fast. So this is kind of a continuation from the video that I made last month about the power of g4 in every opening, which has just popped up in the card above, so you need to watch that too after watching this. Anyways, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more wonderful videos just like this one. Let's get started. Bishop e2 is such a very powerful move, even though the majority of you guys don't just realize how powerful it is. So let me demonstrate this in our first opening out of 5 other openings that I'm going to show you. So our first opening is the Taylor opening, where you begin with pawn to e4 as white, then black responds with e5, knight f3, knight c6, then instead of going bishop c4, the top played move, or even bishop b5, this is where you can play this silent prophylactic move, bishop e2. And this, ladies and gentlemen, sets out our first dirty trap, e.g. if bishop c5, you are simply winning, you should just go ahead and take the free pawn on e5 like this, hence sacrificing your knight, after which you play pawn to d4, double attacking the bishop and the knight. Theory says black should play bishop d6, after which you take. If they take, yes, material is equal, but you are just ahead in development, and if black is not careful, you might end up winning more free pawns like the g7 pawn and the rook. If queen f6, by the way, you have pawn to e5. If they play pawn to f6, the top played move, you can simply go knight c3 and continue developing as highlighted. Remember, it's not just about traps, it's also about being ahead in development and having a comfortable middle game position. So this is what the computer suggests, that after pawn to d4, black should play bishop d6 and not bishop takes d4, which is the top played move in the Lichess database, because this allows you to take the bishop with tempo, attacking the knight. They play pawn to d6, defending the knight, but you can play knight c6 followed by knight d5 ideas if you want, but why not going for the kill right away? You attack the knight on e5 with f4. If they play knight c6, the top played move, this is when you take the free pawn on g7. They'll play queen f6, but hey, you don't have to trade off your powerful queen with your opponent's less active queen. I've been talking about this for centuries. Just go queen g3 and continue playing as highlighted. Going back a few moves, after queen takes d4 and pawn to d6 by black, I said just go pawn to f4, so that if knight c6, you take the free pawn on g7. But what if black plays pawn to c5, counter-attacking your queen? Well, you just go queen c3. Black's knight is still pinned to the pawn on g7. If knight g6 is played, you have queen takes g7. Again, you're just going to be up a pawn for nothing. Knight takes f6 by black attacks your e4 pawn, so you have to defend it, right? And position here is about 4.4 in favor of white. Suffice to win the game. So this is just how beautiful bishop e2 can be in the Taylor opening. The whole idea is to wait for black to blunder with bishop c5, after which we take and put them in a fork situation where we become ahead in development. But what if black plays an intermediate move, bishop takes f2 check, before taking back your knight? Because I mean, they don't want to be attacked this way. So instead of taking on e5, they would rather play bishop takes f2 check first, an in-between move, so that once you take, now they can freely take on e5 with their knight. But hey, this turns out to be a mistake for black. It looks like black gained initiative by making you lose the right to castle, but check on Stockfish. This is the worst thing that black can do against the Taylor opening. First of all, you are one move away from castling short by hand. For example, you can just play rook f1 here and put your king to safety, or play actively with pawn to d4, so that if knight g6 or knight c6, now you can simply go pawn to c3, solidifying your center pawns. By the way, if queen f6, you have bishop f3 or even king g1, anything. If d6, you just go rook f1, and on the next move, you're going to put your king to safety. If black rushes out with a move, queen f6 instead of playing knight c6, let's say queen f6 check. If you evaluate this position with your nose, with your eyeballs, you will notice that you can't play bishop f3 blocking the check because you don't want this to happen. I mean, if you take like this, they have all sorts of tactics on you. You're giving black more time to come up with initiative, so you don't want this to happen. So instead of blocking with a bishop, when black's knight is still on e5, this is where you can just go king g1. Trust me with all your fingers, your king on g1 is the safest king in the world. Let's say knight c6, double attacking the pawn. You have bishop e3, so you develop a piece while defending, which is a good thing. If they play the top played move pawn to d6, you simply go knight c3 and continue playing as highlighted, pawn to h3, followed by king h2, then develop your rook like this. You have all the time to do this, by the way. Alright, let's see more lines in the Taylor opening. So once again, back to our initial position of the Taylor opening where we play bishop e2. We just saw how bad bishop c5 is. But what if black plays the top played move knight to f6, also played by grandmasters and other advanced players? Well, you can see that our pawn on e4 is now under attack. So knight c3 is good, but pawn to d3 is the main move, which is also the best move. So you just go pawn to d3 because you want to develop your queen's knight on d2 someday. Developing your knight on c3 will block your c pawn. So you want your c pawn to sit on c3, like as if you are playing the gioco pianissimo or something like that. If black plays bishop c5, by the way, you are just going to castle short and be good. If pawn to d5, you don't want to exchange your queens after this trade happens. So the move to consider here is knight bd2, so that if d takes e4 comes, you can simply take back with no problems at all. You don't want to exchange your queens. So the knight on d2 is covering your queen, and whenever you see bishop c5, just castle short. That's how simple this game is. And let's say black castle short, which is the top played move. I want you to think about this position. What do you do next? Try to identify black's potential moves here. What is the key move in the gioco pianissimo or in these kinds of positions? Well, I'm gonna answer you right now. The key move in the Italian game or in the gioco pianissimo, which I also talked about in my gioco pianissimo course, is pawn to c3, simply taking away the d4 and the b4 squares from black's knight. It's a very powerful move, and whenever you see pawn to f5, you just meet that with pawn to f4, or you can just do nothing about that. Just go queen c2. It's not much of a stretch, but just stop that pawn. If bishop g4 is played, you go pawn to h3, they'll play bishop h5 obviously, but this allows you to go knight h4. By the way, there are so many things that you can do, that's why I like this opening. You can even play queen c2 here. You can even play rook e1 and relocate your queen's knight to the king side. All these are ideas. So in this position, knight h4 just happens to be one of the good moves or good strategies that you can consider. If they take, well and good. You will have a nice spot for your knight on f5. If they go bishop g6, just trade off that thing, and let's say queen c2. Again, you have rook d1 coming and knight f3. I mean, just visualize that your queen is sitting on h4 and your knight is on g5. So this should be good for your eyeballs. So enough of the Taylor opening, you guys. This should be good for you. If you want to know more about these kinds of structures, simply check out my gioco pianissimo course, which is on my website www.kasperchess.com, and you will thank me later. I think it's one of my best courses in terms of presentation. Let's move on to the next opening. Opening number 2 against the Sicilian defense. How can you play bishop e2 against the Sicilian defense and gain a decisive advantage? Well, that's what we are going to be looking at in my next video. Why have I done this? Well, it's simply because I don't want to flood you with so much information in one video, because you might end up getting confused and start forgetting about other critical lines. So stay tuned and make sure to watch part 2 of this video next. Anyways, thank you for watching my video, you guys. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you are new. This is what we do here at Kasper Chess, exploring new stuffs, making chess become interesting once again. The more numbers we have on this channel, the greater content we expect to see. I know there are a lot of you guys who just watch without caring to like, subscribe, but that doesn't help. I mean, see you in my next video. Until next time, bye bye.